This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back. It is a modality that's been around for quite some time. I'm talking decades, but getting more and more attention recently just because of the scientific evidence coming out. People are more open to red light therapy. Can help with chronic conditions, can also fend off some future challenges like Alzheimer's and so much more, even on the surface level. And I do mean surface, skin, replacing potentially Botox in some situations, even replacing some weight loss drugs. It can help with that. But along with all of that, it can help our four-legged friends as well, specifically horses, and has been very impactful. We're going to dig into all of that today. He is the man behind a great clinic in West Palm Beach, Florida, that does red light therapy and more. He is Rick Ritter. Back on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Steve. We have a little bit of a cold front, but I'm sure that's no surprise to you guys.
All right. Provide some comic relief when define in West Palm Beach what a cold front is.
Well, we're in the 40s in the morning, which is cold for us, and we're actually getting into the 30s next week.
I've been in West Palm Beach. I vividly remember it arriving and it being like 42 degrees. But here's the other side of it. It will always warm up. You know, like the song, "The sun will come out tomorrow." You know it's going to get warmer. Yeah. New York, it's a balmy 23 degrees. Wind chill tonight will be 0 if we're lucky. Maybe 1 degrees, could be a little bit under that. And there's a cyclone bomb or some kind of storm coming again.
Right.
So hunker down with that 40-something, maybe 30 degrees for a couple of hours. I'm praying for you.
We'll bear it. We'll grin and bear it.
See, I knew there was a cold front coming because your ceiling fan is off today. That's how I know. That's
yeah, right.
Who needs the weather charts, the radar, all of that? It's the Ritter fan. That's what we deal with here. The Ritter fan tells everything. So you do have a substantial horse population within your region down in West Palm Beach, Florida. And to my surprise, red light therapy can help horses, right?
Yes, from what I understand. I was just doing some research on it. And yeah, we have quite a few out in the Wellington area. They actually have the Wellington Equestrian Festival and stuff coming up next month, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's not only horses. You know, if your dogs or your cats will allow you to put a red light pad on them, it can help them as well. I've actually used it on my wife's dog who pulled a tendon on his, well, what would be his knee. So we used it to help him recover. But yeah, I was just looking, doing some research, and it's amazing. They actually have custom made red light pads and braces and things like that for different parts of the horse.
Wow. Amazing. With the dog situation that you're close to, what did you see after doing some red light therapy treatment and, following the tendon injury?
Unfortunately, the dog can't relate to us pain if it reduced pain or anything like that. But I mean, that with a combination of just time, we just noticed, him using it more. He was basically a tripod for about a month.
Wow.
Kind of walking a little bit of an angle. It was kind of funny, but sad funny at the same time. But yeah, I mean, considering that their cellular structure is not any different than ours, there's no reason to think it wouldn't help animals.
On the horse level, I'm not surprised, but a little bit I am that they have this designed to fit horses. What are some of the things that you've heard that it can help a horse with?
Well, primarily recovering from injuries. A lot of times they used to just put the animals down for certain injuries. Now, at least that doesn't happen. They can put them in slings and things like that. So it's primarily for the same things we use, with the exception of the weight loss. It's for as the old horses get older, they develop arthritis in their joints.
Mm.
I've read about it being used for that, for the recovery, like I said, of injuries, for racehorses after competing, to recover, kind of like uh, an athlete would after they competed in something. I'm actually going to do some research. I'm wondering if maybe the Olympic team uses it.
Wow.
I'm sure they do in one shape or form. It's just, what I've noticed is that there's always caveats in any of the studies that I read that say that even though there's no real side effects or any real potential issues other than mild skin irritation, there's always the caveats. Well, we haven't done enough research. There hasn't been enough this, there hasn't been enough that. And as we've discussed early on, we know where that reason is because the pharmaceutical companies can't make money off it.
And here's the thing too, when they do trials and or studies of FDA approved medications, take a look at the sample. We're talking, and I'm not exaggerating, this is typical, a few hundred,
Right.
500. That's it. And that's after all this massive funding. So it's not like you're taking this huge population, segment of the population to derive this information. It's just this, I guess it's a random sampling. I don't even know how they come up with the numbers. And out of that, let's say whatever medication it is, let's say it's 400 people, 30 might have adverse effects, or maybe 20, but they have to report that as well. It's a shame that they can't do more research on this to prove that it really does have so many benefits. But then again, this isn't a medication that's been around for a while. This is a light situation that was, I believe, if I remember correctly, the gentleman who discovered it won a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm talking like in the 60s or somewhere, 70s or
Yeah.
something like that. The
No,
beginning.
it was the 60s, yeah.
The beginning
when
of
it
it.
was first introduced. Because I think it was like you were talking about earlier about lasers. I think that's initially how it came. The light therapy in and of itself was just that single laser that someone started using, whether it was for hair removal or something like that. I mean, they use it, they use, what is it, laser on your eyes and things like that. So,
Mm.
but if you look at the fact that, the pharmaceutical companies, the only way they make money is when they get something, a drug that they've researched and developed works, and then they patent that drug or patent that process or that formula. It's the only way these people make money. So if they can't, and one of the things I learned when I was doing my, because I have a organic pest control product company, and one of the things I learned is that, they don't ever, um, if there's not money in it, there's not going to be enough testing for it. And
Hmm.
anything that's done that's produced naturally, you can't patent. You can't patent, ultraviolet light, or you can't patent red light because it's naturally occurring. So if you can't patent it, then you can't really segregate it to yourself and charge money for it. I mean, people obviously the devices that emit the red light is what what they make money on. But it's funny. We were at a big Christian-based wellness thing not recently, my wife and I was sitting there and I just started talking to people, and woman next to me worked for the Alzheimer's research locally down here south, like in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, and they do all sorts of events in 55 and over communities, and we were talking about that, and I gave her my card, and she was saying most of what they do is clinical trials. And she was like, well, there's a lot of people who don't qualify for the trial, so I might send them, refer them to you or give you the information kind of thing. So maybe we can help them. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't heard from her, and I'm wondering if, because of the fact that the most of the money for that company or that organization comes from the pharmaceutical companies,
Mm.
if that's maybe why I haven't gotten a call.
Because there's
because
more
they don't want
money
to,
in
right,
meds.
they don't want to even open the door to it.
Mm. Well, I have something I realize it's good for all of us, and I'm going to try and patent it. I mean, it's natural air. I think that's
Huh?
important. I'm going to patent that. I'm going to try. Same thing with the red light. It's light. It's a wavelength. Is there
Right.
anyone that should be cautious or avoid it altogether? Anything, anyone that you're aware of?
The only, like I said, the only caution that I've been in my training and in my reading is cancer. Because even though it's been shown to help certain cancers, such as skin cancer, um, which you obviously have,
Hmm.
direct knowledge of,
Sure.
because of how it helps the body, the vasodilation, the increased blood flow, the increased oxygen uptake into the tissues, that can, with certain cancers, possibly help the cancer to grow. So we have been told that if anything like that comes to our attention, that we need to defer to the oncologist and let them make the decision. Now,
Sure.
obviously, the patient can make a decision over and above that, but we can't sit here and say we are going to cure your cancer, or obviously, we can't say the word cure for anything, but even treat it. I know we can, and I'm sure it would help in certain areas. It's just, it's that the CYA.
Of course. Disclaimer. Hey, guess what? In all the commercials for all those drugs that we're talking about,
Oh yeah.
the disclaimer, the CYA portion is longer than the commercial itself. So
All
there you
right.
go.
I was crazy. I was listening to some of the side effects of something the other day. The first two were like blindness and possible seizures, and I'm like, wow, that's the first two. You
And
know,
they rattle them off so fast that you can't even remember the rest of them, and
right, right.
intentionally done. What do you think for anybody that is maybe somewhat skeptical? What would you point to as in your either something you've experienced with one of your clients or you've heard of? What would you say for you is the single strongest piece of evidence that red light therapy works or really deserves serious attention from those who are maybe a little skeptical?
Right. Well, personally, I would, because I only use it for pain in my torn rotator cuff or the scar tissue that has, because I never had surgery when I tore both of them. So it helps me with the pain, whether it's helping repair tissues and ligaments and tendons and things like that. That's for years down the road probably because I've done nothing with it for 15 years or more.
But you know what,
So,
Rick? On the flip side of that, the rest of us, as long as you feel better and you got a benefit, and I have issues too. Like I can't even bend my arm this way. This pain right there. Had it
right,
for years. Probably playing tennis twice a summer.
right.
Weekend athlete. I don't care what it's doing, whether it making scars go away, change tissue, whatever. If I'm feeling comfort, that's good enough. And if
Exactly,
it's even
exactly.
if it's temporary, that's good enough too. Because I know at this point, when I try to reach to the back of my back seat of the car and try and grab something, I feel the pain there. I've gotten used to living with it, but red
Yeah,
light
me
therapy,
too.
yeah, if it can fix it or minimize some of the discomfort. And yes, I went to physical therapy. In my opinion, it was a waste of time. It just, it was a cookie cutter situation. Go in there. You have people recently graduated. They're just following the rules. Pull this band, do that. It did absolutely nothing, and I had to pay out of pocket for it. I got a red light
Hmm.
therapy probably would have been half the price. Yeah. Mm,
Possibly, possibly.
mm.
Um, the other case studies, if you will, because we're new, I haven't had a lot of clients yet, but everyone, and I can say this because I know it, because we do a 3D body image of them before, and if
Mm.
like the one I'm going to talk about right now, a woman named Ellen, she did nine sessions, and a session includes 15 minutes of the red light, 10 minutes on a body vibration plate. Okay, so 9 sessions, she did 200 or 2 hours and 15 minutes of total red light. Okay, plus another 90 hour and a half on the vibration plate. Okay, she lost a total of 11 inches.
Wow.
I'll say that again, 11 inches and three different measurements on her abdomen. Her upper abdomen, her stomach, and her lower abdomen is the area we covered. And at the same time, we treated her bad shoulder. And on her very first visit, when I treated her shoulder, I made sure to come out and say, well, how does your shoulder feel? She goes, and she worked it kind of like you did and goes, well, it feels better than it did when I came in. And I said, well, there you go. But I mean, we just had a woman who was not, to the extent of Ellen, but she's lost close to 4 inches. And I think she's on her ninth or 10th visit at this point. But she's also doing a couple areas other than her abdomen too. So
Amazing. What role with the red light therapy does I think you called it a vibration plate. What does that play?
well, when the red light therapy, and you could do this for your own, and if people listening, you go to our website, westpalmwellnessclinic.com. On the home page, you scroll down to the bottom, and there is a 3.5 minute or so video of a woman in a news station talking to two doctors, and they have an electron microscope pictures of the fat cell at the beginning of the red light treatment, halfway through, like 7 minutes or so, and then at the end of the red light treatment. And you can see how the red between the red and the near infrared, it's literally squeezes or makes the fat cell itself squeeze the fat into the bloodstream. So it collapses on itself. The fat goes into the bloodstream. It starts to be absorbed by the lymphatic system. So the vibration plate that we put them on right after doing that helps keep that fat from being absorbed into the lymphatic system. And then we have them drink a lot of water, urinate a lot of it out, and tell them to just eat a very lean meals over the next 24 hours.
Wow. Right away, when you say lymphatic system, and I've been in the last couple of years looking into it, studying it, spoke to experts, especially massage therapists who do lymphatic drainage massage.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many important things that system within our body does. And you just mentioned it. I don't want to use the word toxins, but call it impurities that it gets rid of from our bodies. Yes. So essential. Absolutely. Yeah. There's not a lot supporting it. How are you moving that fluid? Your heart, we know what it does. It pumps. There's no pump in your body for lymphatic fluid.
No, it's just basically exercise, jogging,
movement,
jumping jacks, anything like that causes, your body to vibrate a little to, keep it out of its state, put it out of its stasis, I guess would be a good way to put it. That's one of the things. I mean, one of the other groups that use this machine for the fat loss, they have a third part that is an infrared sauna. And that just helps to detoxify the body and help sweat out some of that impurities that you're speaking about.
You know what? I have to tell you, I didn't connect the vibration plate with the movement. And I know that movement is important, especially for seniors. They don't move like they used to. Even just, flexing your bicep is moving, believe it or not, is moving that lymphatic fluid through your body or forcing it to. Never connected the vibration plate. Wow. Now it makes sense.
Right. Sometimes when you start to connect, look at everything and you connect the dots, you go, wow.
Right.
It really is that simple,
Inflammation is a big word nowadays, and causing lots of issues within our bodies. Any insight that you have attacking types of inflammation with red light therapy?
Oh yeah, that's one of the main things that it was used for. I think that most people know it for is for injury rehabilitation, and part of that is reducing the inflammation around the injury. And just looking at the just what I was talking about at the beginning about using it for the horses as they get older, they get arthritis, just like we do, ironically. And that's one of the ways of reducing the inflammation in the joints that is developed or caused by the arthritis.
What do you think is going to happen in the future with red light therapy? Do you think that more and more people are going to realize that it's making a difference? Do you think that the medical community might take a look at it, short of, the drug companies?
In a perfect world, Steve, I would love to see the medical community start to embrace it for all the things it really can do. But to be honest with you, it's so fragmented. There's not a national association of red light practitioners, if you will. I'm actually toying with the idea of maybe starting one just to get people to share information with each other. For instance, the women that I trained under, um, uh, I've been asking questions, through a kind of a text group. And I was sent an email saying that the questions I'm asking, that most of them were answered in the training and things like that. And I don't remember that, but basically they kind of told me that I can't ask any more questions if I don't want to spend $250 an hour. And I just spent $30,000 with these people for machines and training, and they're giving me this. And it's
wow.
I'm taking my time responding because I'm going to use Chat GPT to be a little, diplomatic, but it's kind of shitty to be honest with you. Here I am just trying to help people.
I was just going to say that. You're trying to help people with something you believe in. That has been proven by so many. And well, they're like the drug companies. They got their money grab going on over there. I think that's a great idea, the association, or at the very least, maybe a Facebook group for practitioners where you can share thoughts and stories back and forth. You could even recount, a story that somebody might post there that worked for them. I'm sure they're not making it up, like you and that woman with 11 inches. You're accountable for that. Somebody can call you out on it. He doesn't make it up. Yeah, here she is. I think her name was Ellen. Like, it worked.
Yeah. It's actually on our Instagram page. There's a voiceover of her torso, the first scan that we did and the last scan, showing the measurements, and her voiceover saying, "Hey, this is what I used. This is what happened, and I'm very happy," and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
but
the
Facebook group is a good idea.
I'll be back at the gym tomorrow, and I'm not losing 11 inches, and I'll be at the next day after that, and then it'll add up to over 2 hours. I guarantee I'll be holding on to those 11 inches. Rick, wonderful talking with you. Thank you for the insight, even bringing to our attention the equine population and how it supports them down in West Palm Beach. What's your website?
westpalmwellnessclinic.com.
Thank you for being here today, and I'll follow up on the things that we talked about, and we'll talk soon. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Enjoy your time down here next week.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.